Vijnanamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanora Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Amadeva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Gurudeva Deva. Hari Om. We are doing the series on self-realization, and in the last talk we were looking at the Mahavakyas, the great statements of Vedanta. Vedanta we defined as the highest knowledge that can only be gained through scriptures, because it's not an objective science. It involves both the subject and the object, and the objective tools that an objective scientist uses are not amenable for explaining or for analysis of the total system that includes the subject as well. And we were looking at the basic fundamental question that we rose in the beginning of this series. It says, I have a problem because when I say I am, and who I am or who is that I, we say I am this. So we said there is an inherent problem in that statement because I cannot be this, and therefore I am is a subject and this is an object. So any identification the subject equated to an object is an invalid equation, because subject cannot be objectified. So I cannot be this, but at the same time we live life after life after life, at least the whole life itself, saying that I am this, I am this, I am this, I am this, and so on. So not knowing who I am, I take myself what I am not as I am, and that becomes a fundamental human problem. In fact, fundamental problem of all life, of all life beings. At least in the case of a human being, he expresses himself that I am this. Dog may not say I am a dog, but a human being says I am a human being, different from an animal, different from a plant, different from everything else. So he has the capacity to think and inquire, and for him only the teaching is one who wants to inquire. Inquire what? Inquire who am I, what is this world, and what's my relationship with the world. The whole world is nothing but the agglomeration of all these objects, and object which is this that can be pointed out, and scriptures is Purnamidam. Purnam is this that I am pointing out. The whole universe is Purnam, is infinite, and we went through the analysis that why creation has to be infinite, why this is a creation, and why creation has to be infinite. All that we have analyzed before. And this is infinite, which means this is Brahman, and Brahman means infiniteness cannot exclude anything, and therefore by the process of non-exclusion it should include subject also. So I am also come under this, or this also comes under I am, because I am is a conscious entity and this is unconscious entity, and we say our scripture declares that consciousness is infinite. I stand for consciousness, I am stand for existence. So existence, which is called Sat in Sanskrit, is infinite, because there cannot be limit for existence. If there is a limit for existence, we say what is there in the other side of the existence. If something is there, that means something exists. Therefore that existence is not different from this existence. Therefore existence has to be infinite. Consciousness is infinite by the scriptural statement, which is also the great statements of the Vedanta. And the objective scientists are looking for consciousness in the matter, and they say suddenly or somehow consciousness arose, whereas the Vedantin will say that the material arose in consciousness. How is that? We will analyze that also a little bit carefully. Why Vedanta is more correct than even an objective scientist, because he doesn't know how space comes and how matter comes before the Big Bang and all that. We went through all, he calls it as a singularity. That means he doesn't know. There is a statement singularity means it cannot be explained mathematical singularity. And what is there is both the subject, object, and the total system cannot be analyzed by any objective scientist. And when I say I am this, I am separating subject from object and identifying object as a subject, and that confusion is because I don't know who I am. That's how we started. So what is self-realization? Self-realization is trying to find out who I am. But in the process of analysis, we say I am stand for existent consciousness, but existent consciousness is, according to Vedanta, is limitless and therefore infinite, and that's called Brahman. So I am Brahman, or this Atma, the self that I am is Brahman, is a declaration by the Upanishads. Upanishads are end part of Vedanta, Vedas, therefore called Vedanta, means end part. And also Vedanta, we said, is highest knowledge. Veda means knowledge, and Vedanta means the highest knowledge that one can gain, because there is nothing beyond one can know. So the scripture says that is Brahman, that means I am Brahman. So initially he says I am not this, but now I am including that also as a part of I am. So Aham Brahmasmi has to be the knowledge that has to be gained. So self-realization involves not knowing that even that I rejected, that I am not, is also I am. So you are contradicting. Sir, you said you are not this. At the same time, now you say you are that. That is called Tattvamasi. You are that. That's what we explained. So it looks like a contradiction, because one side you say you are not that, because you are not an object. Any that is an object. At the same time, you say I am infinite, therefore I am that also. So what is that? Is it a contradiction? It's not a contradiction. It is a different reference state that you are talking about. So Krishna talks about this in the Gita. He says, Mayatatam idam sarvam jagad avyakta murtina mastani sarva bhutani nachaham teshu avastitaha. So each statement is very, very important. He says, Mayatatam idam sarvam jagad avyakta murtina. I pervade this entire universe in unmanifested form. So all manifestations are only apparent, but I am the substratum, or the adharam, adhishtanam, the foundation on which everything appears. Just as the gold is a substratum for all the golden ornaments. It's not that there is on top of gold there is an ornament. Gold itself appears as the ornament. So he says, Maya tadamidam sarvam jagat avyakta murtina. So I pervade this entire universe in an unmanifested form. And Krishna goes further, says, Mastani sarva bhutani. All beings are in me. Mastani sarva bhutani. So am I being affected because of the beings are affected? Beings is, or the who have born because of the ignorance, and therefore he has everything is in him. So people with ignorance are them in him, and therefore he must be ignorant. It says no. It says Mastani sarva bhutani nachaham teshu avastitaha. Their problems do not affect me. So problems of, even though I pervade, all beings are in me, the problems of the beings do not affect me. How is that? Just as gold can declare all ornaments are in me. Mastani sarva bhutani. All gold ornaments are in me. Then, obviously, then Tesham avasti, their avastas, their conditionings do not affect me. Ring may be crooked, the bangle may be crooked, or bangle is size, small, all those attributes of the bangle and the necklace and the bracelet, all those attributes or problems or glories of the attributes do not belong to me. Because gold is a gold, and it has nothing to do with the attributes of the ornaments, because gold attributes are gold attributes only, and ring attributes do not touch the gold, even though it appears to be there in the ring form, appears to be there. So at the transactional level, the attributes of the gold, attributes of the ring, attributes of the bangle, attributes of the necklace are necessary for its utility, for transactability, for its utility, for a date of birth, for there is an expiration date. All that belongs to the ornaments, but not to the gold. We said gold is conserved. Nothing will happen to gold. So therefore, so mastani sarvabhutani nachaham teshu avastitaha. Their avasthas, their states or their sufferings or their happiness do not affect me. That's a declaration by Krishna. And in the very next sloka, after saying that all beings are me, in me, mastani sarvabhutani and nachaham teshu avastitaha, then in the very next sloka he says nachavastani bhutani, there are no beings in me. Sir, you just now said there all beings are in you, and then you are contradicting in the very next sloka the same statement that there are no beings in you. Please make a decision whether your beings are in you or beings are not in you. Beings cannot be away from him, because he being infinite. If there are any beings, have to be in him only. And at the same time he says there are no beings also. That means the beings are ontological status, means the reality of the beings are only apparent and not really real. So the gold can say there are no ornaments in me. All ornaments are in me. That is the right statement also. But no ornaments really is in me, because there are no rings and bangles and necklace in me. I am just pure gold, AU. So both statements are right, but the reference state from which the statement stands. In one says, it looking from the transactional point, all beings are in me. From the transactional point, all the ornaments are in me. But from the absolute point, there are no beings in me, because I am pure, undifferentiated, homogeneous, pure consciousness, existence, limitless Brahman. So that statement is also called ontological, means degree of order. So from the reference point of Brahman, there is nothing of divisions, and the scripture says by Tattvamasi statement that we analyze, you are that, and that what? You are that Brahman, undifferentiated, that which is unqualified. Unqualified only because it's infinite. Infinite cannot have qualifications, because qualifications means attributes. Attributes belong only to the objects, finite objects. Infinite, even infinite is only statement that is not finite. So therefore, I cannot describe any word, because no words can reach there. That's what the scripture says. Therefore, it is no nirgunaha. Nirgunaha means it has no attributes. Only Prakriti has guna, trigunatmikam. But that which is beyond Purusha cannot have any attributes. Even Satchidananda, we said, is not an attribute, because some people claim Satchidananda is an attribute of Brahman. No. Satchit means it is infiniteness, Sat existence infinite, which is same as Satta eva chit, Chittayahyaham, says Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi. Sat is same as Chit, and Chit is I am. That I am is both Satchit Ananda Swarupam, and there are no distinctions of any kind. So what is self-realization now? Is self-realization, because we asked a lot of questions in the first talk, is self-realization different from God realization? And if so, then is it God realization is more important or self-realization important? And what about the Jagat, the whole world? Do I need to investigate what is the realization of the Jagat? All that resolves because self-realization, Jagat realization, God realization, Brahman realization, everything nothing but one and one, because it is ekam eva advitiyam, one without a second. So realization or self-realization is recognition that I am not this, which is only superficial name and a form, but I am very substratum or adhishtanam of the whole universe. So therefore, that I am is self-realization, therefore is recognition that I am infinite. That is same as God realization, and that is same as understanding that the world is not really real, and what is real is the substratum that I am is the real, and same as the Brahman. So what is the correct understanding? Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya, Jivo Brahmaivana. That involves self-realization. What does that mean? Brahman alone is real and Jagat Mithya. Then what about the world? World is only apparently real but not really real, just as the ring and a bangle and a necklace are apparently real but not really real. And then who am I? I am nothing but the Jiva is Jivo Brahma Eva, because he is a conscious entity, and consciousness is, we said, it is necessary and sufficient to say that consciousness is infinite. That therefore Prajnanam Brahma, wherever there is a consciousness aspect of it has to be Brahman, because it's indivisible. So we all counted everything in this process where self-realization involves recognition that I am the totality. Having not, now who has to realize? Again we ask the question, Brahman point, there is no question of realization because it's infinite. So who has to realize? The one who takes himself, I am not Brahman, that means I am not infinite, has to recognize that I am Brahman. So realization is only to that individual or to that person who thinks that I am a finite being. He has a problem and therefore he needs to realize. So it is the Jiva that has to realize, he thinks I am a Jiva and not the Brahman. Ishvara doesn't have to realize, because Ishvara knows he has Aparavidya and Paravidya. He knows that I am pure Brahman and I am taking the role of Ishvara in the creation. All that Ishvara knows. Only Jiva has a confusion. So who has the ignorance? Remember, fundamentally, the one who does not know that he is Brahman has ignorance. But who am I? I am also part of the totality of the Brahman only. Because if I am different from Brahman, if I have ignorance, Brahman does not have inference, then I am separate from Brahman. No, Brahman is one without a second. So we also say, the final analysis, where is the ignorance? Ignorance is also in Brahman only, but Brahman doesn't have ignorance. Sir, make up your mind. It's the same statement. From Brahman point there is no ignorance. From Jiva point, where is the ignorance you ask? It cannot be away from Brahman, because anything away from Brahman cannot exist, because Brahman is the adhara for everything. Therefore, Brahman is adhishtanam for ignorance also, even though Brahman doesn't have ignorance. And that is what is called ontology. Ontology means the degree of order of reality. Unless we understand this correctly, we ended up misinterpreting the Vedanta also. Say, how can Brahman have ignorance and Brahman cannot have ignorance? Because Brahman is identified as an object outside, as an Ishvara, and therefore he cannot have. We also said Ishvara doesn't have ignorance. But Brahman also doesn't have insurance. At the same time, Brahman, the ignorance is rested in the Brahman only, because anything is rested in Brahman only. But Brahman is unaffected by it, and that's a part of the realization. So therefore, the correct understanding is either God realization or self-realization. They are not two different things. I can say Lord is everywhere. If the Lord is everywhere, then there is no me anymore, because I have to surrender myself completely as I am separate from the Lord. That's essentially what involves the Saranagati. Saranagati means I am this, that notion, this has to be surrendered, and that is ego. The ego has to surrender at the feet of the Lord. That's what Saranagati really implies. So when the ego is surrendered, don't say, I still have an ego to do prayer to the Lord, because it is completely surrendered. Who is a prayer, who is a deity, and who is a devotee? So deity, devotee, duality is gone. So the Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi puts this in the beautifully in the Saddarshanam in the next sloka, in the second sloka. So where essentially the Mrutyunjayam Mrutyubhyasritanam Aham Matir Mrutyumupaiti Purvam. It says Mrutyunjaya. Mrutyunjaya means Lord Shiva, who conquered this Shiva. So a devotee, this is called Markandeya story, where a devotee, 16-year-old devotee, he was blessed only to live up to 16 only, because the parents wanted a son, and Lord Shiva gave him a choice. You want a very beautiful son, but only live 16 years, but you have a notorious and rotten son who will survive you and live forever. What kind of son you want? Obviously, you don't want a son who is notorious and causing problems to everybody. So we want, even if it's 16 years, we want a beautiful, good son. And that's how Markandeya is born. And when his 16th birthday, the parents know that is the last day for him. When they are crying, he says, what's the problem? Because today is your last day, according to the Shiva's boon. So he said, don't worry, I'll come back. And he goes to Shiva's temple and surrender himself to Lord Shiva. That's called Mrutyunjayam Mrutyubhyasritanam. Ashram, he surrendered to who? Who is the conqueror of the death. Because otherwise Markandeya is going to die. So whom can he surrender? One who defeated the death. So what does he do? Mrutyunjayam Mrutyubhyasritanam Aham Matir Mrutyumupaiti Purvam. So instead of saving the devotee who came here to surrender himself, oh Lord, please save me from the jaws of the death. Instead of saving him, he says he destroyed the devotee. That's how Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi puts it that way. So, say, what kind of God is he if he destroyed the devotee who came and offering service? So essentially what he means is he destroyed the devotee deity duality. There is no more devotee left, because devotee has surrendered himself completely. I have become one with the Ishvara. So that is what essentially implication is. So when I surrender completely, that's called Saranagati. Saranagati has to be complete. When it will be complete only when there is no more I am as this jiva left. That means ego, that's what we said. I am equal to this is nothing but ego, has to be completely surrendered. When it's surrendered, what is left is I am. In fact, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi says, Aham taya spurati hrutsvayam parama purna sat. That aham spontaneously rises. How does it rise? How does realization occurs? Realization occurs spontaneously, that I recognize that I am the totality. Where does it occur? In the mind. So it's not going beyond the mind. The mind, using the mind, I have to recognize that I am, which is I am, the conscious part of the mind. What is the conscious part of the mind? The mind doesn't have any consciousness. Conscious part of the mind is the reflected consciousness. That's called Upahita Chaitanyam. Upahita Chaitanya means Upadi Sahita Chaitanyam. The consciousness that as though enclosed in the mind. It's not enclosed, means it is reflected by the mind, called Bimba Pratibimba Vada. So just like a pot space, think that I am only pot space and I want to recognize the total space. But spot space can gain the knowledge that the space is indivisible. Space I am here inside the pot is the same space as outside, including the walls also in the space only. That recognition has to occur for the pot space will staying in the pot space. You don't have to break the pot space in order to recognize I am the total space, because even pot is also in the total space. So I don't have to go beyond any body or mind. Body mind can still exist and says I am not in the body, body is in me. That recognition that because I am total. Sarva bhutastam atmanam, sarva bhutani samatmani. Sarva bhutastam atmanam. One who sees himself in every self and all selves in himself, he is the one who is the realized self. So self in all or in oneself, that is the self-realization. In the Krishna says that, and in the very next sloka he says Yo mam pasyati sarvatra sarvancha mai pasyati tasyaham na pranasyami sajamena pranasyati. Yo mam pasyati, one who sees me everywhere. Yo mam pasyati sarvatra sarvancha mai pasyati, who sees everything in me only. Means there is no difference in me and outside me. Antar bahischata sarvam vyapya narayana stitaha. So in the Narayana says, I am antaha bahi, I am inside, outside. So where is Narayana then? Narayana is everywhere. Shantakaram bhujagasayanam padmanabham suresham. So that's only we talk about Shantakaram, bhujaga, 4 hands and all that, and lying on the bed and on the snake. And then Vishwakaram, Gagana Sadrusham. So immediately in the next line it takes to the total universe itself, and that is Vishwakaram, the whole Vishwam Akaram. The whole world is nothing but his Akaram only. So where is he not? Everywhere. So Yomam Pasyati Sarvatra. And everything is in me only. And everything is me only. One who can see that alone can see properly. And the same one is Sarva Bhudastam Atmanam Sarva Bhutani Jamatmani. All beings are himself and himself in all beings. So both either self-realization or God realization, and God is not different from the Jagat. So Jagat realization, all are one and the same, and therefore from the point of either bhakti or from the point of jnana, it is one and the same. That's why Krishna says that among all the 4 bhaktas, so there are 4, the Artho, Artharthi, Jnanincha Bharatarshaba, Jignasu, Jnanincha Bharatarshaba. So all 4 bhaktas, of all that, the one who is the highest is the Jnani. Jnani is the one what? Who has the Jnanam of what? Sarva Bhutastam Atmanam Sarva Bhutani Jamatmani. One who sees himself everywhere and everything in him. Or Yomam Pasyati Sarvatra Sarvancha Mai Pasyati. The one who sees me, that means Lord Narayana, everywhere and everything in me. Therefore Antar Bahischata Sarvam Vyapya Narayana Stitaha. So he is inside, outside, he is everywhere. That understanding, and therefore there is no more jiva left for to recognize jiva, jagat, Ishvara. That division is not there. In the self-realization, it is a divisionlessness. There is no division of any kind, and that is essentially Brahman, because it is ekameva advitiyam, one without a second. So what is self-realization? Who realizes self-realization, and what is involved in self-realization? All these aspects are discussed so far, and with this now we go into the next detail in terms of how am I going to realize? What are the steps involved, if there are any steps, and what should I do in order to realize it? This we will do in the next talk. We'll stop here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.